Welcome to Fearless Finances, where I try to take the fear out of your finances. This is the first video of my new little mini series about my money saving move to Mexico. And we're starting it out at my home. It's kind of where the story started. Not quite. I mean, technically the story started with me doing mission trips to Mexico. I'd traveled to Mexico to help build houses, and you'll probably be seeing those houses right now in the colonias of Mazatlan. Now, I don't know about other parts of Mexico, but in Mazatlan, people frequently have these areas of land, but they can't afford to put a structure on it. So, through YWAM, or Homes of Hope, we have helped build some of these houses, and through this, I got more and more familiar with Mexico. In teaching my classes, I decided to do destination classes to this same area of Mexico. And we would sell discount tickets to one of the local resorts, and I would teach class a few mornings during the week that we were there, and people would spend the rest of the time on vacation. Now, interestingly enough, a couple of the class participants, definitely more than one, really liked this area of Mexico, Mazatlan. And so they would travel back again. And one of them, when she had health issues, decided to spend her whole winter in Mazatlan. Now me, I was trying to finish my book, and I could not seem to do it when I was here at home. Too many things to do. So, and sorry about the background noise, if there is any coming through to you. Some people are zipping around because it's a summer day. So I asked her to find me a place down there where I could spend maybe 3 months that winter to finish my book. Pretty exciting stuff. I didn't finish my book that winter. I got a lot of it done, but I didn't finish it. In fact, I'm still working on trying to get it published. It's pretty much done now, but I gotta edit it. So much work and so many videos to do. But I digress. While down there, I loved it so much. I decided to move there. So I secured a lease in a beautiful condo a few blocks from the Pacific Ocean, and I decided to lease out my home. And this video is about leasing out my home so that I could still build equity in it and reduce my costs for my move. So I'll give you all those details on the other side. Okay, so why did I decide to rent my home instead of sell it? Point one, I love my little home. And I'll take you on a little bit of a tour through this video, but I do love my home, right down to the little flower box right on the front side. And the cute little sunrooms that I have on both sides of my house. I wanted a house with one sunroom, and I got a house with two. This house literally has everything I want in it and more. And one of the things that I love about this house is what I did in the yard. Now, I'll show you some of the pictures of what this yard used to look like when I first moved in, and I thought I found tenants who would take care of it. They did not. Thankfully, they took care of the inside, and when I moved back in, temporarily, I'll talk about that in a minute too, but now I'm having to fix this yard. In fact, while I walk around to the back of the house, I'll show you some of the pictures of the condition that they left this yard in and what it looks like now that I've spruced it up just a little bit. Now, on the bright side, the tenants paid their rent on time, all the time. And I guess that's the best you can hope for. Look at these gardening beds. I'll also show you a few of the pictures of this full of my garden. Oh my gosh, I love gardening. Look at these raspberry bushes. I know I'm acting like I have a little bit of ADD, but I'm not used to walking around with the camera while I'm trying to do a video. So bear with me. Oh my gosh, and I got to show you this too. Look at these grapevines. I mean, isn't that awesome? My son-in-law and my daughter helped me put these in, and my son helped me fix this up because it was such a mess from my tenants. But look at all of these trellises, right? I still have a little bit more work to do back here. I'm going to put in an area with mulch and some covering right here by this side of the trellises so that they can use it for planting if they want. But it is so much better than the way that they left it. Back to finding the tenants and some of the good from the tenants and some of the bad. They said they'd take care of this yard and they were excited to do it, and they didn't do anything, not one thing. So this time, because I am leasing it out again, I am going back to Mexico. In fact, I'm going to do a lot of videos about what I've learned about living in Mexico. Here, I'm going to show you one of my other sunrooms now. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show you this because I'm not really moved in, and I'll show you some of the pictures of what it looked like when I lived here. But this is also one of my other sunrooms. And you can also see the picture of what it looked like when I lived here. Again, there's another one on the front of the house. I did just rearrange some of these plants today. I found that some of the flowers were infested with these red beetles. This one needs a little bit more water. I'll have to do that later. It's pretty hot out here right now. And so I ripped out, though, a bunch of lilies that were just getting devoured. But overall, I've been able to get the garden to come back again. And my son did this front area. I am telling you, without his help, I would have cried every day trying to put this back together. But here is the front sunroom. And I'll show you what this looked like too when I was here before. But as you can see, I have like a little temporary desk to do some work at. I also had my groceries delivered today. I'll tell you, they also do that in Mexico. But this is the interior of my home. I pulled out a few things from storage, but I don't want to fully move in because gosh darn it, that would be a lot of work. So it's kind of messy and it's kind of how I'm staying here. So here's the second reason I decided to rent out my home. I wanted to keep building equity, and I also, if this whole moving to Mexico didn't work, I wanted a place to be able to just move back into. Now, before I selected any tenants, as a result, I made sure I did a background check and a check on their credit score. And they did check out fine on both of those areas. I chose 2 young women. They seemed real enthusiastic about the place, but like I said, there was a major fail on the yard. Major fail. They didn't even try. They did not even try to get anything done. It was crazy. Now, I used Zillow to screen candidates. Zillow doesn't charge you anything to list your rental on there. And I think even if you wanted to try to sell your home, I think you could list it for free, but that I don't know for sure. And they have the ability for people to apply right on Zillow. Now, I also used Facebook Marketplace. Not as good candidates. Both times I rented it, it was through Zillow, not Facebook Marketplace. If you've ever sold anything on Facebook Marketplace, you know that there's lots of people on there who are not serious buyers. People have told me that I should get a landscaping service. The second time around, I didn't. It's a young couple moving in this time, and they seem to be interested in it, in taking care of a home and finding out what that's like. Now, in an effort to ensure that they take care of it, I've offered them the same deal that I did with my other tenants. In both instances, though, as an incentive to get them to want to take care of the yard, I picked up certain expenses. And I wanted to do this too, just to make it easier when I move back in. So I still pay for the water, I pay for the internet, so it was here when I got here, right? Big bonus. And I also pay for the sanitation. That was then available and I didn't have to get it set up. They are responsible to pay for the gas and the electric. The other thing that I've done is offer them the use of all of my gardening equipment. A lawnmower, snow blower, shovels. All of that is left here for the tenants so they do not have to buy any of it. In this particular lease, I also said, I'm paying for these things. If you do not take care of the yard or do not want to pay for the yard, you'll pay an extra $220 a month so that I can find somebody to care for the yard. And this time around, I have somebody lined up in case they don't take care of it. And I think that's then 3 reasons. I love my house. I wanted to build equity, and I wanted a place to land if I needed it. This is why I'm renting out my house. And I have a 4th reason. I didn't want to sell all my stuff, and I needed a place to store it. Now, I could have stored it where a lot of people store their stuff, in a storage area. And there's been times that I've been in transition. In fact, before I bought this house, I was in transition and did put a number of my items into storage. But I figured, why pay those rental fees? If I keep my home, I can build a space in the basement. So this is my storage area. I mean, granted, it's nothing super fancy. A friend of mine who's a carpenter built it for me at a pretty good price. I think it was $3,500. Maybe $4,500. I'll have to look. Maybe $4,200, somewhere between $3,500 and $4,500. But it is probably more than 20 feet long, maybe close to 25, and it's probably 12 to 13 feet wide. It has 2 doors on it. The one that we just walked through, ta-da. And the other one, which is over there, we'll walk out of it in just a second. Normally, there would not be so much room here, and I know it seems kind of crowded, but I can easily walk through here, and that's kind of unusual. Because I'd have the rocking chair piled up in here and some of the chairs, and that one table that I put out in the sunroom would be stacked up in here as well. But I thankfully thought ahead a little bit and made sure that there were some items right in the entryway and very accessible so that when I had to transition the property, I could just grab them out. Now, I did really well with some items, like the bath stuff. I had a shower curtain right here, toilet paper, all of those necessity kind of items. You can see that the items that I don't need right now are kind of sitting there. And I also had a bed and all of the linens right by the door. So I could just pull that out when I arrived. In fact, my flight got in at like 11:30 p.m. on the night my tenants moved out. Now I had no idea what my house would look like. It was clean. It was so clean in here. I was so grateful because it could have looked like anything. But I literally set up this bed with the frame on the bottom at about midnight. No, it was about 12:30. I didn't get to sleep until like 3 o'clock in the morning, but it all worked great. The thing that I neglected to do in all of my setting up though was to have a kitchen. Back here in my storage area is all of my kitchen stuff, and you can see I was smart about it. I labeled everything. But the problem is I didn't have one box with all the essentials. So I did go out and buy some plastic plates, bowls, a basic set of cookware, and I will add that to my camping gear, which happens to be over here in this corner. In fact, here is the second doorway that's underneath the steps that houses all of my camping gear. My tenants then have access to all the rest. The laundry equipment, I even left them the chest freezer that you see, the small fridge. There's also items for them to be able to take care of the house. I also pay for all of the items like the furnace filter. It's worth it to me to pay for these items to make sure that my home is taken care of. Because unlike a lot of other rental properties, this is actually my home. And I love my home. It's been nice being here to transition the property. It turns out that the tenants that I picked this time around didn't want the property until August 1st instead of the July date I'd hoped for. But that also meant that I got an extra month being home and being in my home. It also meant that I didn't have to rush through all of the stuff in the landscaping and the other home improvements. So it actually worked out for the best. It's been a learning experience. Not everything went perfectly the first time around, and I don't think everything will go perfectly the second time around. But I am glad that I kept my home, and it has worked out renting it out. I've got some travel coming up to Mexico. I'll be headed to Mexico City and Oaxaca. Woo! I don't know if you're aware of it, but Mexico has some really cool places to travel to. In addition to doing those travel videos, I'm gonna do other videos about my move to Mexico. Grocery shopping, restaurants, cost of living, how to find housing. Do you need to speak Spanish, and what sort of Spanish do you want to know? So if you've got any questions about moving to Mexico or renting your home, jot them down in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And it'll probably make good content for an upcoming video. So welcome to my new series, Money Saving Move to Mexico. I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to share with you because I've learned a lot on this adventure. Make sure you subscribe so I see you back here soon.